All right, let's jump right into this explainer and see if we can solve a nutritional mystery that frustrates so many of us when we're trying to hit our health goals. You know the drill. You're diligently tracking your meals, you're making smart, informed choices, you're staying active, and yet the scale just kind of refuses to budge. Well, the culprit might be hiding right in plain sight, or more accurately, right inside your favorite coffee mug. Today, we're decoding your daily cup of coffee to figure out exactly what we're actually drinking and, more importantly, how we can make our morning routines work for us instead of against us. 500. Yep, 500 calories. That number represents the sheer amount of calories quietly lurking in some of the most popular blended frappe-style cafe drinks on menus right now. 500 calories. To put that into perspective, that's essentially the equivalent of eating a completely satiating, full light meal, and clinical data shows us that if you're casually adding an extra 500 calories a day to your diet just through your morning beverage, well, that can easily equate to gaining about a pound of body fat in a single week. So it really begs the question, is that innocent morning ritual actually sabotaging your calorie deficit? We're going to investigate how a quick trip to the drive-thru can quietly stall your progress and exactly how we can fix it without forcing you to give up the drinks you love. Because here's some really great news right off the bat. Coffee itself is absolutely not the enemy here. We definitely don't need to banish coffee shops from our lives. We just need to upgrade our awareness so we can navigate those massive, multi-page cafe menus like absolute pros. Let's start our investigation with the baseline. Plain black coffee is practically perfect. It contains less than 5 calories and 0 fat. When you look at the nutrition tracking data, a standard cup of black coffee provides almost no carbs, a tiny 0.2 grams of protein, and effectively 0 calories. It is, without a doubt, the gold standard for anyone operating in a calorie deficit. So, if the base ingredient is basically calorie-free, how on earth are we getting up to 500 calories? Watch how incredibly fast this builds. Layer by layer, your simple 5-calorie espresso transforms into a heavy, dessert-like beverage. First, we add some whole milk, which introduces about 150 calories and a pretty significant amount of fat. Then comes the flavored syrup. Just a few standard pumps of vanilla or caramel, boom, another 100 calories and a massive sugar spike. Finally, you top the whole thing off with whipped cream, and you've just tacked on an extra 100 to 130 calories. In literally 4 quick steps, your simple, energizing pick-me-up has mutated into a total calorie bomb.
And here's the real kicker. It isn't just what you add to the cup, it's the size multiplier. If you choose a large cup over a small one, you aren't just getting more water or more coffee beans. You're getting double the milk, double the sugary syrup pumps, and a much wider surface area for extra whipped cream and extra caramel drizzle. Just casually saying, yeah, make it a large can instantly add 300 to 400 extra calories to your daily intake without you even noticing.
To really understand where these hidden calories live, let's put 2 cafe heavyweights head-to-head. If you're standing at the counter trying to make a smart choice, a latte and a mocha might look incredibly similar. They both have an espresso base, they both use steamed milk, and they both sound like completely reasonable morning options. But between you and me, one of them is hiding a massive secret. Take a look at this massive jump in calories and sugar the exact moment we introduce chocolate syrup into the latte base to create a mocha. A standard latte sits around 200 calories with 10 grams of naturally occurring milk sugar. But look at the mocha. It skyrockets to 320 calories and a truly staggering 35 grams of sugar. And get this, that massive sugar jump, it is almost entirely coming from the chocolate syrup they squirt into the cup. So the crucial takeaway here is that a mocha isn't just a flavored coffee, it is essentially a high-calorie dessert wearing a coffee disguise. The chocolate completely alters the nutritional profile. A latte allows you to actually taste the roasted coffee, balancing it with the natural mild sweetness of the milk. A mocha, on the other hand, just masks the coffee entirely with a thick, syrupy sweetness. Basically, if you want a coffee, order a latte. If you want a liquid dessert, you order a mocha. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I'll just swap to a non-dairy alternative and instantly fix the calorie issue. Well, let's look at what the data actually says, because this is a super common trap. We just naturally assume that because something is plant-based or vegan, it automatically equals lower calories or better for weight loss. But the reality of those cafe milk alternatives is actually quite a bit more complicated. Check this out. While unsweetened almond milk is an absolutely fantastic low-calorie swap at just 60 calories a cup, oat milk actually packs 120 calories per cup. That is surprisingly close to regular old whole milk. Oat milk is incredibly popular right now because it's creamy and sweet, but those exact traits come directly from its carbohydrate density. So if you're blindly ordering oat milk thinking you're saving hundreds of calories over whole dairy, unfortunately, the math just doesn't add up. And always remember to check your labels. Those super creamy barista blends used in commercial cafes are intentionally formulated with higher fat content just to create that beautiful latte art. A standard carton of plant milk you buy at the grocery store is very different from the barista additions coffee shops order in bulk. They literally add extra oils, often canola or sunflower oil, so the milk doesn't split when it hits the hot espresso. And added oil means added fat, which directly means added calories. Okay, let's pivot to these solutions because making just a few of these simple tweaks can effortlessly shave hundreds of calories off your daily order. And no, you don't have to drink black coffee if you hate black coffee. Instead, just ask the barista for 1 pump of syrup instead of the standard 3 or 4. Skip the whipped cream and you'll save over 100 calories instantly. Downgrade your size from a large to a medium. These are microscopic changes that barely affect the taste of your drink, but massively improve your nutritional profile.
Here's a great example. By swapping out a heavy blended frappe for a customized cold brew, you get all the caffeine and all the flavor, but for a tiny fraction of the caloric cost. A large frappe is that 400+ calorie trap we talked about. But cold brew, it naturally tastes sweeter and way smoother than hot brewed coffee. Add a splash of 60-calorie almond milk, maybe a single pump of sugar-free vanilla, and you've just built a delicious, customized iced coffee that clocks in at less than 50 calories total. That is a massive win for your day.
And if you want to bypass those sugary syrups entirely, spices like cinnamon and nutmeg are brilliant ways to add complex flavor without adding a single calorie. Most cafes just have these shakers sitting right on the handoff counter for free. A heavy sprinkle of cinnamon not only makes your coffee taste like a warm, expensive pastry, but clinical studies actually show cinnamon can help support healthy blood sugar levels. You get maximum flavor, 0 calories, and a nice little metabolic bonus. Can't beat that.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to be absolutely 100% clear. You do not have to give up your daily cafe ritual to see weight loss results. Even the Mayo Clinic notes that having a richer coffee drink with some fun extras is totally fine on occasion. The real danger only happens when that 500-calorie dessert drink becomes a mindless, automatic daily habit. We aren't here to label your favorite latte as bad. We're just here to bring awareness to what's actually in the cup so you can make choices that align with your overall goals. Honestly, this core TruvoFit philosophy perfectly sums up everything we covered in our explainer today. Use this nutritional data to empower your choices, not to punish yourself. Calories are information, not guilt. Track the trend, not the panic. If you had a giant sugary mocha today, who cares? Seriously, don't panic and definitely don't feel guilty. It is just information. You log the data, you recognize it was a higher calorie choice, and you use that info to make a slightly different adjustment tomorrow. Awareness gives you all the power. So now that you know exactly where those hidden calories are lurking, what smart swap are you excited to try on your very next coffee run? Are you going to switch from oat milk to almond milk, ask for half the usual syrup, or maybe you'll give that cold brew with a heavy dash of cinnamon a shot? The menu is completely in your control now. But it does leave you thinking, if a simple cup of coffee can hide 500 calories, it kind of makes you wonder what else might be hiding in plain sight in your daily routine, doesn't it?